1 year ago at the last COP in Paris, both the EBRD and the EIB made very high-level commitments to greatly increasing the amount of finance that they provide for climate change. And that included adaptation. And now in this COP in Marrakesh, there's a really strong focus on adaptation. And we have a really strong partnership between the two banks and other financing institutions to find ways of scaling up adaptation, turning it from being a niche, specialized subject into a kind of mass production of good adaptation investments. And to do that, we need to stop reinventing the wheel. We need to have common standards and common shared ideas of what good practice is, so that we can scale up those projects more quickly and in a more efficient way.
Yes, indeed, as Craig said, scaling up is going to be a challenge, and adaptation needs are huge. And there's no doubt that if we don't work together, that this is not going to be done. And I think one of the challenges, particularly we're going to have over the next 12, 18 months at the very least, is trying to set a kind of usable, practical index or metrics that we can use to measure. In mitigation, it's CO2, we all know it. In adaptation, it's a lot trickier, but we are working on it, it's on our agenda, and I'm sure we can move that forward.
What we mean by adaptation is understanding the way that climate change is going to affect our economies, our infrastructure, our businesses and our communities, and working out how they need to be adjusted in terms of their design and their management and their monitoring, so that those climate change impacts can be understood and any vulnerabilities created by climate change can be managed.
I would say there's three things. There's the obvious thing from working together: learning, understanding, sharing practices. Secondly, I would say this thing that I find very important is trying to get a shared vision so that we're not all going in different directions. And thirdly, and this is particularly on setting standards and approaches, is getting a common force by safety in numbers. When other parties come and say, couldn't you do this, couldn't you do that? And we said, no, actually some of the best minds have worked together for years to develop a standard, and this is the standard we're going to use. All the MDBs use it, and that gives us strength jointly, which we wouldn't have individually.